Welcome to Film Talk Weekly Radio. I'm Castle with the Santa Fe International Film Festival. Today I'm here with Jill Campbell, the director, producer, editor, correct, of Beyond the Gaze, Jule Campbells Swimsuit Issue. And for those of you listening on the radio, Jill is wearing her bathing suit today. Welcome, Jill.
Yep, I'm wearing a topless bikini. Hope
Yes,
everyone's okay with that because I'm all about body positivity. And
yes,
too bad you're missing it if
yes. You can
my
imagine. Yes.
my over 50 my over 50-year-old body. Um, no, only kidding. And yeah, and I edited the film with a co-editor, another Jill Woodward. So I just wanted to give her some props as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. So this is a documentary feature, correct? Give us like your elevator story on it.
So it's called Beyond the Gaze, Julie Campbell's Swimsuit Issue. Julie Campbell was my mother-in-law, and I knew her since I was 21 years old.
Wow.
And she was the founding editor of the Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Issue. So in the 60s, she was a fashion editor, worked at Glamour magazine. Fun, fun fact, she worked at Glamour for Betty Downey, who was Robert Downey Jr.'s grandmother, which is
Wow.
hysterical. And I found that out in my research. And then she started working at Sports Illustrated because Sports Illustrated started in the 50s. And at first, she was a fashion editor. So she would do like ski wear, what people wear to sporting games, or, she did everything fashion. And, during that time, the magazine wasn't doing well for the first 10 years. And the managing editor, who's this Frenchman named Andre Laguerre, was brought in to kind of revitalize the magazine. And February during that time was a dead sports month because the Super Bowl wasn't in February at that time. So there were no sports happening. And he called Julian. He had his eye on her. He thought that she was I don't know, just with it and fashionable and just, you know, had potential. And he's like, I'd like you to find a pretty girl to be on the February cover, go to a resort somewhere warm. We're gonna liven things up and sell some magazines. So being a woman and being in fashion, she's like, okay, well, let me find a sporty girl. Let me go to California. This is a sports magazine. Let's get someone healthy. I'm not into the Twiggies of the time, too skinny. So she went to California. She found Sue Peterson, who was like definitely voluptuous and not skinny and healthy. And they put her on the cover, and nobody realized the controversy, the media buzz, everything that would happen at the time. Like she was doing her job. But she was also like an artist and instinctually culturally aware of what she was doing and had a
Right.
strong moral compass and was in no way trying to exploit women. She was just doing her job. All the magazines had women in bathing suits in magazines at that time, Glamour, Cosmopolitan, Vogue, but this was a sports magazine, so it was different. So the film is about, her career. She started in the 1960s and retired in 1996, all analog, never worked in digital. And it's about how she overcame a very sexist environment, accusations of objectification, how she to become and create one of the most successful magazine issues in American publishing history. So it's her journey and her fight against the system, and also her fight to protect and elevate the women she worked with.
Wow. I haven't seen it yet. It's a great story. I'm very curious, like about so many things, which probably are answered in the film. So, like, I hate to ask them here, but uh,
No, I love it. I love
yeah,
the curiosity. I love
yeah,
the conversation it elicits.
yeah. Was she the only woman working at sport? So it's a men's magazine, obviously, and so that was the controversy of putting a woman on the cover because it was targeted towards men.
Yes. So
Hmm.
back then, I mean, they wouldn't say it's a men's magazine, it was a sports magazine. So they had mainly male readers, although they
Right.
did have like 30% female
Oh,
readers.
wow. Okay.
But, and the swimsuit issue had many, many female admirers and readers. But a lot of women thought that it was there just to exploit women for the male gaze.
Yeah.
And, and men did sexualize it at the time. And it was before Me Too, and it was when men were openly kind of gross and sexual about these things. And
Right.
like, I can't even tell you the comments I've heard from certain uninformed men about like, their fantasy life about this magazine, where I just am like, please don't share that. Thank you very much.
Still, yes.
It's private. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, still,
Yes.
it's crazy. And I'm sure Julie got this for the 32 years she was doing
Of
it.
course.
So, I mean, it's really interesting because I think in today's, it's called Beyond the Gaze because we look beyond the male gaze to the female gaze.
Yes.
And given how we evolved, how body positivity has evolved today, you know, it's a woman's choice how she chooses to view herself or show herself. And it really is, it's the other person's gaze that's sexualizing them. So why beat up the people that are doing it? Um, so yeah, so we explore all of that in the film. And it's right for conversation, of course. There's so many different views, and it's not to kind of lessen any of the effects of the male gaze and on body image, on women's self-esteem, on eating disorders. It's just a conversation about this one woman's journey as a career woman.
Right. I'm now realizing some similarities. Last week I interviewed Julie Rubio, who did a film on Tamara di Lempicka, who was a painter in the, early 1900s, but her thing was that she was painting nude women, and
Ooh,
that's something that men did normally. So there was a lot of controversy around her painting the woman's gaze onto women's bodies.
oh, I
And
love that. So
yeah,
similar, yeah, interesting.
yeah, that is really interesting.
Because she was producing women's images. She was
Yeah,
the editor, so she
uh-huh.
got the photographer, got the, hired found the location, hired the model,
Hmm.
but super similar, super
Yeah,
similar.
yeah,
She also only worked with sports photographers because it was a sports magazine, and she was going for a sporty look. And some of them, she discovered some of the most prominent models
right,
in American history. Like, she or launched their career. She didn't discover all of them, but like Christy Brinkley, Kathy Ireland, Cheryl Teague,
sure.
Tyra Banks,
The
um,
supermodels.
Shumber
Yeah,
Williams Carol Alt, who's the consulting producer on the film. Kathy Ireland's a consulting producer. So yeah, she really worked with Elle McPherson, all these amazing women.
yeah, like supermodels. Like,
Supermodel. Well,
yeah.
a lot of people say she discovered or prompted the supermodel because she was the first person to put models' names in magazines.
Well, yeah, like, yeah,
So she would basically, you would read the issue, and she would write little blurbs next to them like, Ella's in Bora Bora wearing this fashion designer, going for, a swim here. And by using their name, she humanized them
right,
and enabled them to become known around the country and the world. And you could see in the film, we track it, it's like, and then many of these women became very successful business women with their
very
own
powerful,
brands.
very powerful.
Very
Right.
powerful, like Cheryl
Yeah.
Peaks with Spears and Elle has
Hmm.
Welco and Christy Brinkley, oh my God, has been everywhere. And Kathy Ireland has $1 billion enterprise. So it's interesting to me when certain people, you tell them about the film or about the subject of Julie Campbell, and they want to kind of bash her and put down this subject. And to me, it's like a film about women empowerment and a woman who inspired so many other women. And so we're kind of bashing that myth.
Good. Uh, Yeah, that's really interesting because models like, and I even today I feel like there's less supermodels than there were in the past. Like growing up, it was you knew all their names, and
Totally.
that is the reason why, really.
It is. And I agree. There's less supermodels because now we have social media and we have like the Kardashians and we have influencers. Now
Yes.
the models are trying to be influencers. They're like when we interviewed
Right.
Kim Alexis, she was so surprised. She was one of the biggest models of all time, at the time. And she's like, years later, when she's going on a go see, she's asked, how many followers do you have? Which was not in her, in the dialogue back
Right.
then. She was
Sure.
on every cover possible. She didn't have to prove how many followers she had on social media. So it really has pivoted. So I could see how it's diluted what was the supermodel. I don't think there are supermodels anymore, but yeah, Julie was of that time, and she didn't mean to kind of promote or discover the
Yeah, but
supermodel.
she made the, like you said, humanized and, gave them a name instead of just something to put clothes on. And, that's
Exactly.
the woman's perspective, right? Like that's the woman's gaze is like, I'm gonna get someone who's, a person and, represents sports, like, and it's much like this painter Tamara de Lampica, like, showed different sides of women and different bodies and body positivity,
It's
where
awesome.
men painters were not doing that. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what we do, you
yes,
know. So it's like really funny when she gets these accusations of
right,
objectification because it's like most women I know, that's not like how we think. We
yeah,
don't think we're going to objectify women. We're
right,
protecting women, we're lifting
yes,
them up,
yes.
we're celebrating their beauty, women in fashion, self-expression. So yeah, it's been a really interesting
And
ride.
usually it's people that are uninformed and people that will say this without even seeing your movie or reading
Uh-huh.
the
Yes.
bio on it,
Yeah.
as
Yeah, yeah.
usual. Where can we see this?
So it's playing at AMC theaters. They're doing a one night only event on September 18th at theaters across the country. To find out what theaters, you can go to www.juliecampbell.com and we have all the links, or you can go to AMC and Google Beyond the Gaze, you know, Jule Campbells Swimsuit Issue. You could also follow me on Instagram, which is Beyond the Gaze Film, or my personal one is Jill Audrey Campbell. But it's all over the place because we're posting like crazy.
Yeah,
So
just
it's the
search
AMC.
Beyond the Gaze AMC
Yeah,
screening.
exactly. I mean, it's playing in New York, LA, Chicago, Denver, Boston, Nashville, Miami, just so many exciting places around the country.
Yeah.
And we're really hoping that people come out and see it.
Yeah. So for my Denver listeners, it is on September 13th, correct? It's at the
September 18th,
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 September 18th.
September 18th, 7:30 p.m. Um,
And that's at the AMC Highlands Ranch, September 18th. I'll be sending it out on my social media as well.
thank you.
I'm excited to see the film. And uh, why don't we talk about how did you get it into, how did you get this AMC screening for students out there? We have a lot of students and
Yeah.
filmmakers in Santa Fe. Like distribution, I think, is a big question, like big thing people
Yeah. I
want to
mean,
know
it's
about.
distribution is so hard right now, as
Hmm.
everyone knows. That's the main
Sure.
goal. And we've had a very successful festival run, which is key, to raise the buzz about the film. Like we premiered at Woodstock Film Festival, we played at Doc NYC, Santa Barbara Film Festival, Newport Film Festival, Montclair, Annapolis. We played at over 25 festivals around the country.
Wow.
And we did try to get some of the larger distributors involved, and very little distributors are taking on films, especially theatrically right now on documentaries. They're just like, documentaries are not doing well. We can't promise anything.
Why aren't they doing
So
well? What do you think?
because people are just not going out to the theater,
Hmm.
and people are staying home and watching them at home. So what's happening is what's doing well is if you created an event around your film. So a lot of filmmakers are doing that, and that's really
Interesting.
creating a buzz. Like Jeremy Workman did it with Secret Mall Apartment, and
Oh, I'm dying to see that.
yeah, it's great. And Eno did it. And so we're having to change the model. So we signed with Tribeca Films as our distributor, and they're doing our digital distribution, which is
Oh,
amazing. It's going to be available somewhere in digital in November and a Blu-ray, and we're getting more information on that this week. But we kept our theatrical rights, and I'm really glad we did that. So that enabled us to, you know, continue to screen at festivals. We already had a 2 week run at IFC Center in New York City,
that's a big
and
deal.
that was a big deal, and that was important because that qualified us to, submit to all the awards, like the Academy Awards, the Producers Guild
Oh,
Awards, all
cool.
these awards. We don't have $1 million for our awards campaign, so I'm hoping, but I'm also realistic about it. But it's a great way anyway. We qualify, so it's a great way to get your work in front of people and share your work with colleagues that you want out there. And I'm very proud of this film. It's gotten amazing reviews. It's amazing reviews on Letterboxd, which scare the hell out of me. I'm always scared, because Letterboxd can be all over the place. you
Yeah.
know, I'm waiting for that one really scary one, but so far it's been really positive. So as far as AMC, so we were trying to think what do we want to do as far as our theatrical run. A lot of people are doing self-distribution. We kind of looked into doing like this after IFC, doing a run around the country to all these small theaters, but that was so expensive and so time consuming, and it falls on you. And it's really hard to make your money back. Like IFC, we didn't make we made money, but we didn't, it's a big investment. You have to do a lot of PR, you have to do a lot of social media. It's a 24/7 commitment.
And do you have
So
to pay to play your movie there?
no, you don't pay, but you pay for your own PR. They don't
And
provide
you
PR.
and you get ticket sales,
You
or do you
get
split
ticket
it?
sales. You get ticket sales. It's a percentage, and I'm not allowed to share that because that's
Yeah,
like,
of course. Yeah.
personal legal thing, but it's a percentage. But like by the time and we did well for the 2 weeks, but all the output we put on PR and parties,
You
and
had an opening party and
it's exactly. So you know, if you were playing at 40 theaters around the country at the same time, you have a much better chance of making money.
sure,
But you're also doing this for publicity and
sure.
to raise yeah, to let people know about the film so that when it does eventually go somewhere on digital, people have heard about it. It's in the zeitgeist and
Hmm.
people will watch it. So for me, this is all part of the process of eventually, hopefully, getting some money back and getting a buzz going and sharing your movie with the
Hmm.
general public. So I had heard about AMC Artisan. I Googled them, and what they're doing is super cool. There's AMC and there's AMC Artisan. AMC
Okay.
Artisan is doing strictly indie films, and they are doing these one night event type things. Like
Cool.
they're doing our film, they're doing oh my God, I'm blanking on, they do concert films, they're doing like they're doing the Hamilton
Oh,
musical re-release.
okay. I love that they're
They're
doing
doing
this.
it's super cool,
Awesome.
and it's a great business model because for them they're like, how do we get people in the theater? Because
Sure.
we know we can get people to blockbusters on weekends. How do we
Hmm.
get people there during the week? So we're on a Thursday, they don't do it on weekends, or at least not for us, but like it's a great opportunity. So they offered us 30 theaters, one night event around the country. And we took that. And there's still expenses for us involved. We're not paying them, but there's expenses as far as like you have to, they don't pay for the DCP. You have to prep it. You have to pay for your PR.
Sure.
But what we did is we reached out to, we have a lot of fans, a lot of influencers around the country. So I try to find hosts in each location to kind
Mhm.
of represent the film. And the people that agreed, I sent them an original Polaroid from the film, like because Julie digitized
Oh,
over, she saved all her work, and we digitized over 10,000 original photos from her archive. So we had all these Polaroids that we've digitized. So 10 lucky women got originals of those. And it's pretty amazing the women who've come through, and we're just really excited to share the film across the country. And it's amazing that AMC is doing this. It's
I
great.
love
I think
that
it's a
program.
really,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a really interesting program.
I think I saw them, I saw ads for Hamilton when I was in New York. Uh, so it must have been that same program. Like it was like
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
one
they're
day.
doing a
Yeah.
one day. They're
Well,
doing
that
like the
makes it really
news. It's a
exclusive.
Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's easier because you're like, okay, you just have one day to like really build the buzz and get people out. It's really hard because people don't go to document. Like we did do a 2 week run at IC, and it was amazing. And but to get how many people are going to go see a documentary at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon? Like when you do a run, you have like
Sure.
3 to 4 showings a day. And it's hard to get anyone to a blockbuster that much. So it
Mhm.
makes total sense. So it just feels like, the business model is changing. And as filmmakers, we're adopting and figuring out what works best for us. A, you want to share the movie with as many people as possible. And B, you want to return on your investment.
Yes. Yes. Uh, well, what did you want to be when you grew up? How did you get started? When did you know? Are you a full-time filmmaker? I have tons of questions.
Okay. Well, first, I also want to shout out my other producers, Sharon Shuttleworth, Rob Lyons, and Jonathan Gray, that helped produce this with me. I
Very,
started the
very
film, and
important.
they all came on after. Um, so how did I get started? I started in theater. I was, a crazy, troubled teenager,
Theater kid?
theater kid in the 70s. I went to a performing arts high school. I was obsessed with the theater. I studied, got my BFA from Ithaca College. I studied theater, moved to New York City, tried to be an actress, where was in some like B movies, and was in a movie with Grandpa from the Munsters that you could find
Oh,
called
nice.
Fright Night on YouTube. And I give the
Cool.
worst performance on the internet. And then in the end, my husband actually found it. It's hysterical now that everything's online. And I showed
Yeah,
it to my kids, and my kids thought it was the funniest thing ever. Because
that's
I get killed
cool.
by a bunch of topless women in this
Okay.
horror film called Fright
You
Night.
you get
It's called,
what?
I
Killed?
get killed
Okay.
in a satanic ritual by a bunch of topless women.
Okay.
It's called Fright Night.
Hmm. Great.
But
Everyone
I had,
Google that.
yes, I
You
had
will get to
standards.
see. Yeah. Well, I
And
guess
I
you're not
they
topless
wanted
in it.
they
Yeah.
wanted me to be topless, but I had standards and I wouldn't. And now I
Yeah.
wish I was, because I want to see my breasts at that time. But I am all about body positivity and free the nipple, so who
Yes.
cares? And
Yes.
that's actually a theme in our film.
Yeah,
So
totally.
there is a total free the nipple part of our film. So
Good.
anyway, so I moved to New York. I found the acting thing really rough. It was like the 80s. It was a time when like you were getting hit on, your ass was getting pinched. It was pre Me Too. It was
So
rough.
crazy,
Like
right?
the casting couch was real, auditions, anywhere you went, people, it was brutal. And I just didn't like it. Like I loved, I loved the craft, and I loved theater, and I loved entertainment, and I studied it. So I decided to switch to producing and to playwriting. And I got a job as a production assistant at Shakespeare in the Park. And I was a
Cool.
production, very cool. My first professional job was Taming of the Shrew, starring Morgan Freeman and Helen Hunt. And it was amazing. Like I took Morgan to the Second Avenue Deli. Tracy Ullman was on it in it. I took her on the subway. I really got my chops, and then after that, I worked in the office at the public theater. And then I got pregnant very early with my first child, and I got burnt out. And I was only in my mid 20s, but I decided to take a break from everything creative and put my creativity into my child.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for 5 years, and then like the creativity roars back, and the muse doesn't want to leave.
It's
And so
true. It's true.
it does. It's like it goes in different places, and
That's why
thank
I try
God.
to I mentor young creatives and I tell them, you know, a lot of people tried to make them do something different for their careers, people in their family and whatnot.
Oh,
And
totally.
but it comes back and that's why they end up in this internship. And it's like, well, how can we take what you've been working on and your creativity and try to, make that work maybe or but it comes
It's
back.
so true.
It
It
doesn't
does
go
come
away.
back.
Yeah.
If it's there, you can't
Hmm.
squash it, and you shouldn't. And I tried because I was like, this is too hard, and I just want to raise my child. But then I started writing plays, and that's how it came back, and producing. And I moved to London with my ex-husband, and who is actually Julie's son, and that's how I met Julie.
Okay.
And I studied with this very well-known playwright named Bernard Kopf, who was one of the angry wet young men and had a play on the West End. And he taught this really bohemian class at his apartment in Hampstead. And I met all these really cool writers, and he would have actors there. We would write our scenes in his flat, and actors would read them and act them out immediately. And we really got a feel for what was working, what wasn't. And so I had my first play produced in London, and had another play produced on the Dublin Fringe, and then I moved back to New York, and I had a play produced at LaMama, and I was a resident artist at Mabou Mines, and I was all in. I loved, writing. And I had this great play at Mabou Mines that got great reviews, and I thought I was going to break through, and nothing happened. And at the same time, I was working for an artist my day job, an abstract expressionist, and I was a film minor at Ithaca, so I was always into film. And his girlfriend was the philanthropist Anne Bass, and she was producing a documentary on this Cambodian ballet dancer that she was a patron to.
Hmm.
And they kind of brought me in, and I became the associate producer, but really a producer. They wouldn't give me that title, and I should have asked for it because I ended up like running the company. And I think we started that film in 2006, and it premiered at Seattle Film Festival in 2010. And then I worked on it from 2006 to 2012, but then I really got addicted to the craft, and I got paid, and I was able to use everything about story structure and just to put that into my filmmaking, into
Right.
documentary. But I also was very like I was, mansplained to a lot on. I got hired as a producer a lot after that, but I got mansplained to, and I started creating my own docs, and I found I wanted to learn more, so I went back and got my master's at Hunter College studying documentary filmmaking at their IMA program, and that gave me a lot of confidence to be not mansplained to.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes you need like I notice like even if you're doing the job, like it helps to go get the education to back it up and then you get the education and you're like, well, I already knew this, but now I have the degree. And I now I've just
Yeah,
confirmed what I know and yes, no one can mansplain or yeah,
yeah, I mean,
just
it was
explain
a
to me.
bucket list to get my master's.
I had
I
the
had my
same. I actually had
kid
the
really
same
young.
bucket list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the master's was Hunter wasn't ridiculously expensive, and yeah, and I did want to learn, like, that's how I learned how to edit, and that's where I learned how to work cameras and what frame rates were, and technically, and studied the history of documentaries. So it was great to do
So
that.
is documentary that is for you? That's your chosen
It's my chosen
media right
field, but
now?
I also like narrative too, and I'm interested in that as well. I think everything's fluid right now, and I think
Hmm.
that thankfully we don't have to put ourselves into boxes. Whatever the best project is that comes
Hmm.
along.
Yeah.
And I try to make the documentaries I direct very narrative.
Because you're a storyteller and your
Exactly. It's
playwriting
not,
background. I could see how those work together. Like, yeah,
yeah, it's an
cool.
amazing gift to have had the playwriting
Yeah,
to inform the documentary.
yeah. I really want to get into how this film was made, Jill Campbell. Jill Campbell, are you in New York right now?
I'm in New York right now. Yes,
Good.
I am. How is the film made? So, Julie, as I said, was my mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
I met her when I was 21. I married my ex-husband, and she was a life mentor. I knew her my whole life, and just because I was divorced didn't mean we didn't stay close. And we have like a modern family. So during the pandemic, she was in her 90s. She moved to her farm in New Jersey. Bruce, my ex, moved in with her. And me and my current husband would go and just visit and bring food and have conversation. And I just found I wanted to make a doc on her for a long time. She wanted to write a book after she retired, and she never got around to it, but she brought everything home. And so I just found her in this prolific state of just wanting to tell her story. And I kept taking my iPhone out and I kept filming her. And then finally, I convinced Bruce and Julie to allow me to do the doc. And we came back with our professional equipment. And really, it was just my husband and I filming her for 2 years at her farm. Um, in a verite manner. And what was super cool was, he would bring her work home. She was one of the first people to like work from home, and she would edit from home. And at times she did this because she would try
Wow.
to take out the gratuitous shots before her male editors could see it. So we just
Ah,
got,
wow.
yeah. So
Super
her
interesting.
house was chock-a-block full of Super 8 reels and slides and photos and Polaroids. And like literally, we would be tripping over the stuff in the house. It was an old
Right.
film house. So basically, we digitized over 10,000 assets of never before seen Super 8 slides, Polaroids. And our lawyer said anything that she took, she had the rights to. So she took all the Polaroids, she took all the Super 8. Because visually, it just was a gift to create this film. And you know, Kathy Ireland, the model, and Julie were very close. And Kathy used to call every Sunday. And one day we were filming, and Julie said, "This camera's on me." And Kathy and I knew each other. And she got on the phone, and I was like, "Yeah, we're filming a doc." And I was very nervous to see Kathy's reaction because I didn't want
Huh?
anyone to think I was exploiting Julie. Like she was full in, and she was getting agency from the process, like agency to tell her life story in her
Yes.
90s.
And she wanted to
Um,
tell her story.
wanted to tell it, and it was such a beautiful bonding experience for the two of us. I can't even tell you. So, yeah. So, I told Kathy. Kathy thought it was an amazing idea. She gave us our blessing. She was the first person we went out to interview, and then after Kathy was on, Carol all used to call, and she came on board, and hooked me up with like Rashamba and Paulina and like everyone. Elle used to call, and Elle was really close to Julie, and they were all in. And the hardest part was just figuring out schedule. And then my good friend Sharon Shuttleworth, um, was telling her about the film, and she worked in her family had a production company, and they came in and became EPs, and so they funded it, and we were off and running, and it was just an amazing, amazing experience.
How lucky she is to have you in her family. And I've heard a few of these stories, how things happened during the pandemic. Like people were, a lot of creatives were really productive and big projects that hadn't happened
Oh,
yet
cool.
came to
That's
life through the
interesting because I
pandemic.
feel like we're in a similar situation right now. Like, because the arts are getting smashed and
Sure.
nobody, like, and I think that there's a lot of productivity going on behind the scenes. Like, even
Hmm.
though our hopes are being dashed and
Right.
there's not a lot of funding, but I'm hoping, like, I don't know, kind of keeps you, what else do you
I
have,
can't stop
right?
you from writing, you know.
Yeah, or yeah, exactly, or creating, or you know,
Right.
exploring a new subject.
Or even filming and getting ready for when, you know, and in so many ways, like it's more democratic to produce content, like, or more accessible and democratic in a way, the distribution aside, maybe, but you can still create,
Yeah,
like
yes. And I think there's probably going to be some really interesting
work that
subjects.
comes
I,
out
I
of
think
this
it's very,
time for
very
sure.
fertile right now. It's really
Right.
fertile
Yeah.
because
It's
we're all like in this no man's land of
right. And that's where
emotion in terms of
inspiration,
work.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. Even though it's very stressful.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you do all the filming during the pandemic?
No, so we filmed with her. We would go like every weekend, and so we got lots and lots of footage. And then post pandemic is when we started interviewing the ladies. So
Okay.
Kathy was first, and then Carol out visited Julie, and we had this great Verity scene between them. And Elle McPherson visited Julie, and we filmed with Paulina Poroskova and Kim Alexis and Stacey Williams, Rashemba Williams, MJ Day, who runs the magazine now. So yeah, thankfully, we were able to film with Julie during the pandemic, and then once it was over, we were able to break out and film with other
Sure.
people. So yeah.
And so I know there's controversy around Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Is there controversy around the film as well?
Um, Probably. I mean, I feel like Julie, like I have to defend it a lot because,
Uh-huh.
you'll be at a serious film festival and people are like, well, what's your film? And I'll say,
Hmm.
what it is. And yeah, it's not about, a horrible social crisis. And I respect and love those films. I'm not putting them
Hmm.
down, but I feel like women's rights and women's empowerment and women dealing with sexism, it needs a voice too. And I think
Yes,
like
that is a crisis.
people it is a crisis, and I think people they hear Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue,
And they
and they just
go,
think
yeah.
I made a film just about women in bikinis, and it's
Hmm.
like, how boring would that be? Like, you
Hmm.
can go turn on YouTube and you could see that. Like,
Yes, yes.
why would I pop? And it's not like a pop film about just interviewing supermodels, and this is a serious film about smart, educated women, and it's about empowerment. And so, yeah, I think, like I've won awards, like Brave festivals have given us awards. Like we won Best Documentary at Omaha Film Festival. We won an award at Doc Utah. We won Best of Fest, Grand Jury Award at Vermont Film and Folklore Festival. And but I do think the optics, we've been in competition, and I think a lot, the films that won above us are amazing, so I'm not putting them down, but I do think there's optics to a festival awarding Julie Campbell's, swimsuit issue best documentary. I think even though the film is beyond the gaze, and that grounds it,
Sure.
hopefully people know we're looking beyond the male gaze. We're
It's right
doing a
there.
deep
Yeah.
exploration of that. But
Yeah.
I do think I've seen some eye rolls. I've had to explain the film. I go right into people are asking me what the film is about. I'm like, well, it's a feminist look at this whole subject, and we flip the gaze. So I do have to explain myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people just need to see the film. They have lots of ways
Yes.
to see it at the film festivals. You mentioned AMC is screening it on September 18th at theaters nationwide, one day only. And uh, it sounds like digital distribution in November. Go to your website. Uh, there's, let's see, your website is, say it again for the,
www.juliecampbell.com. It's
yeah.
JuleCampbell.com. There's our
Oh yeah,
poster.
show us that. Yes.
There's Julie.
Yes. It's a great film poster too.
Thank you. We love it. We
Yeah.
got these great poster designers who I later learned did what you call it, Quentin Tarantino's
Ah, cool.
film. Oh, what is it? The major
Any of
film.
them.
with
Um,
John Travolta.
oh, Pulp Fiction?
Pulp
Cool.
Fiction, they did their poster and they've done a lot. I went to them because I love their posters and they did this
Uh-huh.
Invisible Beauty poster that I just loved. And I thought they did a great job.
Yeah. Well, I have a million more questions, but we don't have time. And, I will learn about it in the film. I'm sure all my questions will be answered. Like,
Yeah.
how did she work in this environment for 32 years?
Oh, you
And
will
like,
learn.
yeah. Not that it was
And
bad.
our,
I have a feeling she would have walked out if it was bad,
I
like
mean, the quick answer is she learned how to navigate those men.
she
And she says
navigated
it in the
it. Yeah.
film. She like her one quote in the film is, "You don't have to tell everyone what you're thinking at all times. Be mysterious to get your way." And it
Yes.
sounds a little old-fashioned and
No.
sneaky, but it's great advice because a lot of
Yeah.
times we just want to like
Or sure.
regurgitate it all out.
Sure.
And he was very strategic in how she
Yeah.
navigated it.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite quotes to the
That's
film. And
interesting.
also, people can check out our trailer on our website so they get a little taste of the film.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for joining us. And,
Thank you.
Jill and I met at the Annapolis Film Festival, and I'm hoping I'll see you in Santa Fe
Yeah,
or when I'm in New York. Uh, but congratulations.
let's do it.
Can't wait to see this. I'll be seeing it in Denver, uh,
Awesome.
putting it out to the crew. Everyone needs to know about this film.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you
Thank
for
you for
having me.
making it. Yeah.
Thank you.
This has been Film Talk Weekly Radio, Castle Searcy with Santa Fe International Film Festival, coming up on October 15th through 20th. And I've been here with Jill Campbell, writer, or director, producer, and co-editor, along with Jill Woodward, of Beyond the Gaze, Jule Campbell's Swimsuit Issue documentary. Thank you.